Hello wonderful interpreters, and thank you again for tuning in. I do hope that you all had a good and refreshing 4th of July weekend. Now let's get started. In this video, I'm going to be talking about reports that we have received about MyLanguageLink, aka interpretingWorks, mistreating interpreters, the state of the election, and our unfair labor practice with PERC. As you know by now, many interpreters have reached out to us about not getting paid by MyLanguageLink, aka interpretingWorks. It's been a disaster, as we have reported before, and many interpreters are now behind on their bills, unable to support their families, okay? What you see on the screen here is an email from one particular interpreter sharing with me their interaction with Marisa Gillio, who owns this company. Please feel free to pause this video at any time in order to read the information that you see on the screen. This interpreter called about unpaid assignments repeatedly, leaving different messages without anybody returning the calls until finally being able to get Marisa on the phone to ask her about payment status for 8 to 9 weeks of unpaid assignments, as you see here. This interpreter reports that Marisa Gillio was rude and disrespectful, saying things like, "Didn't you receive the email we sent you? Don't you guys know how to read contracts? You did not sign an agreement with us, you did it with L&I. Called them to ask him for payment. We don't pay you, L&I does. We're just a software." This interpreter says Marisa Gillio continued with the verbal abuse by saying, "You should have learned how to use the portal to know what each of those terms mean." This interpreter had to hang up the phone to stop the abuse, but not before telling Marisa that all of this should have been avoided if she would have figured out her software. Unbelievable, guys. This interpreter was just trying to figure out how to get paid for jobs that they did 63 days ago, as of the date of that call. This mistreatment is coming from this company's owner, the lady who gets offended if you dare to call about not getting paid, who has said before that interpreters do not deserve all the work that they have done. Can you believe this? This is the company that WFSE Local 1671 leaders imposed to treat interpreters this way. Zero professionalism and zero respect. Moving on to the status of the election, we did mass email you a few days ago to let you know that L&I did not object to the election happening while the unfair labor practice that we submitted is pending, as you see right here. You also saw how WFSE Local 1671 leaders were denied all appeals to delay the election, so they decided to copy us and filed their own unfair labor practice on June 22nd to then ask PERC to block or suspend the election until both complaints are resolved. They obviously still support the implementation of the scheduling system while in the middle of the election, so their complaint is hypocritical, as we showed you, and just another attempt to delay the inevitable election. Which it doesn't matter because they will lose rather sooner than later, since we are in the lead by far, as we have shown you before, with more cards submitted than WFSE and the other group combined. And of course, the group with the least amount of cards submitted joined WFSE and submitted their argument to oppose and delay the election. They submitted their response to Mr. Sealers at PERC. I don't know. We do not know who that is, by the way. We do know of Mike Sellers, however, which is PERC's executive director. Please let us know if you know who this Mr. Sealers is. Now, Interpreters Rising's participation in this election, as you know, is already being challenged by PERC's policy, and it's only a matter of time. But their leaders now have joined forces with WFSE to delay the representation or the election. And they are in agreement with the same union who they claim to oppose publicly. Go figure. Both WFSE and this group would love for this election to be dismissed so that they can try again, even if it means that L&I interpreters will go without a union representative for a long time. But fortunately for all of us, the election is happening no matter what. You also saw that we requested PERC to proceed with the election while our legal complaint is pending. But we also knew that it was a 50-50 proposition right here and that it was ultimately up to the executive director. So what did he say? Well, here, as you see, last week on July 1st, PERC's executive director decided on the blocking charge, as you see here. Please feel free to pause this video and read the underlined text. Here you can see that he decided to block or suspend the representation petition or the election while the unfair labor practices are pending. He mentions that we amended our complaint to withdraw one of the allegations of our own unfair labor practice when we first filed a few months ago, where we pointed out that LNI implemented the scheduling system to benefit WFSE's numbers in the election, but we still included those facts or assertions in our amended complaint. We agree, though, that the scheduling system can improperly impact the outcome of the election. If you remember, I talked about withdrawing this allegation back in April in a video, as you can see here. You can click on the right link above me to watch the video again. This is from April 13th, when PERC wanted us to amend the domination allegation in our complaint. And as you can see here, from that time back in April, we alleged both domination and interference from LNI during the election process. And the last paragraph says our interference allegation made it through, and that's why our unfair labor practice moved forward and advanced to a hearing on September 13th and 14th. Here you can see we were given the opportunity to amend it later. Here you can see that PERC wanted us to provide more facts about the domination allegation, as you see here, but we didn't have enough facts since the scheduling system was new, and we are still waiting as of this day for our public disclosure request that we made to LNI about this issue. So we decided to withdraw the domination allegation back in April 13th, as you can see right here, to let our unfair labor practice advance with our interference allegation to our complaint with no further objections from PERC. This is nothing new. You've seen the video, and I provided the link earlier in this video for you to go and click and watch that video if you need more confirmation. Now back to July 1st and PERC suspending the election. You see, this is the end of the decision from Mike Sellers, PERC's executive director. The most important takeaway here is that while we already have hearing dates for our unfair labor practice on September 13th and 14th, later this year, now both complaints, meaning our complaint and WFSE's complaint, will be expedited, as you see right there, which means that there is a possibility that we have a hearing sooner than September, which is actually a very good thing. And of course, right after the hearings, they'll come to a decision, and then the election will happen right after. In the end, it is positive to expedite the process so that LNI answers for this implementation sooner, and then allowing PERC to make a decision to possibly correct this situation. I want you to meditate on this. This is another image that we shared on that mass email. I want you to remember that WFSE leaders cannot even prevent ULS from only paying interpreters $18 an hour for over-the-phone appointments. This is what they could do, which is nothing for you. And the reality is that people are dropping right and left from their union, and that's why they have resorted now to bribe interpreters with monetary help in exchange of union membership. And in this image, you see exactly all of this is because we are in the lead by far. That's why they're resorting to all kinds of shenanigans, okay? We have submitted far more cards than both organizations combined, and we have shown you this before. There is no way back. We are in the lead. We're gonna win this election. It doesn't matter how much longer they try to delay it. It will happen. We already have triggered the election. Hi again. Despite WFSE and other groups attacking us, we have already achieved our goal of triggering this election. While the election is suspended until both legal complaints are resolved, we will have it, and we will finally have the legal representation that we sorely need. We need this union. And that's always been the main goal, getting this representation to fix the LNI system, to have that scheduling system for those that want it, but to fix it so it works for everyone, and to have independent interpreters contracting directly, all in harmony with providers, making this system work for those that matter, which are the patients. So it doesn't really matter what you hear from WFSE or from other groups, their attacks do not have any effect on us. Their voices are yelling out of desperation and filled with bad intentions anyway. The reality is that here at Washington Interpreters, we do respect you. Unlike other groups, we do not ask you for money, we do not bribe you, we offer help equally. If we have continuing education classes, we do not care if you are a member of our union or if you signed our card. We're going to give you the help that you need because we're here to help interpreters regardless of union membership. We keep on informing you by providing you with the facts without any misinformation included. We have advocated at every level during this pandemic situation while sacrificing our time and our own very limited resources. So we encourage you to avoid those who seek to sow more division within us. We want you to make an informed decision regarding the union that you'll choose to be your representative, us, Washington Interpreters. Find the instructions in the description below in order to send us your signed card. Like this video and subscribe to our channel in order to keep on getting more relevant information for our interpreting community. See you in the next video. Do not lose hope, and as always, God bless.